Hello, welcome back. There has been a news almost everywhere on the social media, especially on X, debate that has been going on. We all know that we're still in 7 days of mourning, of our former president, President Muhammadu Buhari. And a lot of people are conflicted by his legacy. There are people that of the opinion that he was a disaster, and to some people he was a darling to them. Today, our president renamed the Unimed after him, after Buhari, a president with a mixed, legacy, a president that, you know, oversaw the killing of civilians, the Lekki Toge, a president that did not really care about the people, didn't really care about talking to the media, president that spent close to 200 or more than 200 days of his presidency abroad. A president of many characters. We just want to look at it and also implore you to join us in the comment section. Is it really wise? Is it a good decision for our president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to rename University of Maiduguri after Buhari? Why did he not rename a university in his home state, in Katsina, after him? Why did he not build a memorial after him? Why did he just rename an existing institution after him? So is it right? Was that a good thing? Was that the right step to take? Is there something else they could have done? So what do you think?
Yeah, to answer your question, I think there are other options out there. My thought process when I heard this news is that the University of Maiduguri is a federal university. And being that the late president served in the military, he served as a two-time president of the country. I think it's the right thing to do. Maybe there'll be other things named after him in the future. Maybe there'll be an hospital built and named after him in the future. That is yet to be determined. We don't know yet as of today. But I think is a way to show the president's families, his friends, the Northerners that Nigeria care about the service of the president. And like you said, his legacy is marred by a lot of issues, a lot of corruptions, a lot of nepotism when it comes to hiring. A lot of the people in the West, in the South, and the East didn't really like how he ruled for 8 years. When he was coming in, he masked himself as a change candidate. And at the end of the day, it didn't work out well for Nigerians. All Nigerians really struggled during his tenure. And the struggle continues under the current president as well. But I think it's a good thing. It's the right step to take. It's important that the president is making some steps in the right direction to at least memorialize the life and the name of the late president. Nothing is going to be perfect. I'm not a Tinubu supporter. I'm not a Buhari supporter, but I think a person of that magnitude, something needs to be named after him. Maybe they're gonna build something else in the future, maybe a hospital, maybe another airport, or something in his home state that his people will benefit from, and they will see his name, and the young folks coming behind us will see that, hey, this man used to be the president of the country. But I think it's the right step to take to at least name something after him. Now, maybe in the future they can build more infrastructures that can be named after him.
Yeah, President Buhari was a president with many sides to him. First of all, as a military dictator, he forced himself on the people. He carried out a coup and overthrew a government. So number one, he was a dictator. He came back, as a reformed Democrat, and then they sold him to us as a reformed Democrat. And he almost continued without military tendencies. He removed a sitting Chief Justice, Justice Onoge, removed him single-handedly, went to the Sharia court to bring his person from the Sharia court, and he installed as the Chief Justice of the Federation. He did so many things. And in fact, throughout his time, well, it wasn't up until 2011 that Goodluck Jonathan established a federal university, Dulce, in Katsina. So I would have thought that they would rename the university in his home state after him. There was no reason to rename another university in another state after him. Although it's a federal government asset, It's a federal government infrastructure, so they can rename it, they can name it after anybody. But I think it would have made more sense to rename the one in his home state after him. But I think the best thing they would have done was to build a memorial in his memory. Or maybe build a hospital since he died in London. Or maybe build a hospital in his village. From a lot of reports, it seems to be that he really loved catering to the poor. So maybe they should have built a university, a hospital to cater to the poor in his village. I think that would have made much more sense, even if they sided in Abuja, just maybe create a foundation in his memory for, maybe leukemia treatment or cancer treatment, but a foundation in his name. Here we have a lot of foundations that people that they created the foundation or they named the foundations after them. They probably have died so many years ago, but the foundation is still ongoing. The foundation is still giving us scholarships and stuff like that. So I think there are a lot they could have done. I think Tinubu is just playing politics. He don't want a vacuum. He don't want the thing to die down before he will act. He wants to play into their emotion, and I think that's exactly what he's doing. But there are a lot of things that could have been done. They could have created a scholarship scheme in his memory. They could have built a hospital to cater to the poor. They could have built a leukemia center. They could have renamed the federal university in his home state after him. So there is a lot that could have been done, but I just feel like Tinubu is just playing politics as usual. He's a politician, and every opportunity he gets, he uses it to play that politics to the fullest.
Yeah, you can't blame him. He's running for for the second term and he's holding on for his dear life. There's a lot of people against him. The coalition is coming together. Even though they're still being divided internally, yeah, they're gonna give him a run for his money. This is an opportunity to bring the Northerners together to show that he cares about them. And I know there's been reports that the president made contact with the late president to get his support, to get the former president's supporters to support the current president's second term bid. So maybe this is also a way to bring them all closer. Hey, I care about this man that brought us all together. Because if you think about it, Tinubu was a man that recruited Buhari and he sold it to Nigeria, and Nigeria bought him. And, you know, it's 10 years later, Nigerians are still struggling. Nigerians are not happy with his leadership. But Tinubu is fighting for his dear life. He wants to be the president for the second term. So he's going to do everything they can, bring the Northerners together to gather their support, to get feel from them in order to be the president for the second term. So he's playing the games, and hopefully they can see through his games. And if you don't see through it, he might end up becoming um, the president in the next general election.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes because yesterday, Atiku officially resigned from the PDP. And then if you go on X, if you follow Boki on X, Boki on X, there is a very particular guy called a Sakin. He seems to be very loud on the X. He has said that officially Atiku is the leader of the North. So how is that going to fare with Tinubu? I know that, Saken is just speaking his mind. He's not speaking for the whole North. So we'll see how that goes. But I think renaming a unit, there are some things that you don't change. I just think there are some things that shouldn't just change. Some of these iconic universities is just like somebody going to Futo to change Futo to a different name, or somebody going to OA to change OAU to a different name, or somebody going to Unilag and change Unilag to something that people don't know. I think there is something it does to that institution, and I'm still maintaining it. Since he loves the poor and the poor love them, I think the best thing they would have done is to create a scholarship scheme in his memory. The federal government will probably, maybe fund the scheme and then take donations from people that love him, people, Nigerians, people around the world, take donations and use it to help people to go to school, even if we're not asking for the whole Nigerians, even if they limit it to just his state. But I think that would have made much more impact than renaming a university after him. In fact, tomorrow somebody could come in as the president and decide to change that name. But if they create a scholarship scheme in his, in his memory, that is forever. Nobody is going to change it. That is, that will stand the test of time. But just renaming monuments, renaming institutions after people, just like they renamed the conference center after Tinubu, tomorrow somebody else, Atiku, may become the president tomorrow and yank off all those names, including Wike's Cafe. Just remove all of those names. I think creating scholarship scheme, building healthcare center in his memory be a better thing to do.
Well, there's more way of skinning a cat. So you can skin a cat whichever way you want. As long as you're skinning the cat, you're still making it work. But to your point, maybe that university wasn't a great idea, but at least they had to show something that is loud, something that is big as the University of Maiduguri, so that people in the North can follow along and support the president for his second term. Big. I don't really think there's a lot that the president can do at this point. I know the buck stops with him, but I don't really think that there's a lot it can do in terms of making sure that the folks in the north supports him without them having something to point at and saying, "Hey, this is what this man has done, and this is why we should support him." But now that it's named the University of Maiduguri, now that it puts the name of the late president on it, maybe the Northerners can see, hey, this is what this president did for us, and in town we need to support it. Maybe they'll vote for it, but we don't know. We'll see that, but I don't think it's gonna work out the way they're thinking. But we'll see. But I do want to say that the idea of building a hospital, starting the scholarship scheme would have been a better alternative, but we don't know what they're planning. Everything is still fresh. I'm sure they'll work some things out. But I just don't like the idea of saying the late president liked the poor. If he liked the poor, why didn't he do something to lift those poor people out of poverty? So I really don't like it. It really doesn't really uh go well with me. But I'm just saying that if everybody's saying you like the poor, if you truly love the poor, why didn't you do something to leave them out of poverty? That would have been the best thing to do. So they won't be kneeling at his door every year or every month and waiting for something to drop in their pocket. I think we need to change this mentality in Nigeria. We need to improve the lives of the people. We need to improve the lives of everybody. So no one can say this is a poor guy, let us help him. Should at least, I know in every country there'll still be poor people, but for the most part, a lot of people still needs to be lifted out of poverty. If the government can do something about it, yeah, they should do something about it.
Yeah. Um, um, I mean, people are pointing to the fact that he did a lot of things for quote unquote the poor. He did a trader's money that Osunbajo was in charge of. I think the implementation was bad, but I think the intention behind that was a good intention, but the implementation was just nothing to write home about. I think they did cash transfer to the poor. I mean, I don't know which people because a lot of people actually complained that they did not get anything. So I don't know if that only happened in the north. I mean, he did his bit. It might not be enough, but that is a typical. I'm not trying to paint the whole North with one brush, but that is a typical behavior of them. They do not really try to uplift their people. Maybe they are scared of losing respect or losing their service. That is not part of their culture. They try to have people beneath them, serving them, and then coming to wine and dine in their houses. I think that is their typical behavior. But if you come to like East, you come to West, I think it's a different story. If you go to East, it will be difficult for you to see just one person having money in a family. I think that is also true for West. But if you go to North, you can see just one rich person in the whole community. So it's not new to them. It's not peculiar to Buhari. And that is almost the same behavior across North.
Yeah, that definitely needs to change. And talking about giving out money to people, how much are you going to give them that will sustain them for a long time? How about you teach them skills, improve the economy, help them be able to stand on their feet so that way they're not coming back for another 5K, another 10K at the end of the month. And if you remember during COVID, there was supposed to be some palliatives, some cash that were donated to Nigerians that were saying they gave some people money, but nobody could come out and say, hey, I received this social amount from the government. So I think everything is just being shady, the way everything is run, the way the system is set up. It needs to be revamped and the system needs to change.
Yeah, I guess that is problem with our leaders. They don't think past their nose. They don't even think for 2 years or 3 years to come, unless it's an election season. But if there's no election coming up, they don't think past 1 year. And this is why we are so far behind. Most developed countries or most countries that are striving to get out of poverty, they are thinking almost 10 years, 20 years ahead. But we Nigerians, we just, our leaders, they just think in the immediate. That is how they think. They're not thinking about long term. They always think about short term. So let us know what you think. Was it a good thing to have renamed the UNIMED, University of Maiduguri, after Buhari? What do you think they could have done? What other alternative do you think they should have taken? Let us know in the comment section. And thank you for your
All right. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. They want to engage with you in the comment section. Thank you once again and have a good day.